I'm Mike Dimas, and this is Pinball Shenanigans. Alright, today is Miscellaneous Stuffs Day. I have too many to-do lists, so it is time to kind of plow through most of them and condense them to at least one piece of paper. So I have been plugging away for an hour or so, and I can go over a few of the things I have done just for fun. What is happening in Shenanigander land, that is what this is all about, really. So let's go for a tour. I'll see if I can rely on my memory to some degree. Oh, I'm gonna have to pull up something on the Internet Pinball database. I will be right back. Okay, check this out. This is Harem by Playmatic, the machine I had that is going to Rob Burke for his collection. It is packed and palleted and ready to go, just waiting for Robert's word. But while I had this machine busted out, I did scan in the schematics right here. Oh, I'm gonna have to download. Oh, they're there. So I made a contribution to the Internet Pinball database. That was my second contribution ever. First was Bally Joust schematics. But now I actually have submitted some photos. Oh, this is the wrong one. Here, this is the single player version. That was, I think, the 4-player version. Let's go back. It says 1 player too. Wait. Oh, where was I just looking? Okay, yeah, sometimes I accidentally click on the 4-player version. But this is the one I had. But you can see John Robertson. He is John's Jukes out in BC. He has been around the block, been in the industry for decades, and he is a super knowledgeable individual. He does board repair. He's in Canada, so another Canadian board repair option. So if you ever need boards repaired, John Robertson I highly recommend if you're out that way. But if you're out this way, you know, Ontario, yeah, I would use my guy, Brent Butler. Anyway, so John Robertson has supplied some photos of a harem back in the day, and it might have been a while ago. I don't really know for sure, but look at this. Mike Dimas. I have submitted a bunch more photos, and I didn't realize that Jay, I think his name is Jay, oh man, Stafford? I'm gonna have to double check that. Jay Stafford. That seems to be the main go-to contact. If this is all a one-man show, then kudos to you, Jay. But, I mean, if he's submitting all the data on his own, that's a lot of data to keep this website up and running. I'm sure there's more people behind the scenes, but look at this. He used, like, almost every friggin' photo I sent him. I just sent him, like, a crap load in case so that he could pick and choose what he wanted to use. But he used pretty darn near everything. And he was actually mostly impressed with this photo, if I recall. This is the latch that is on the head that actually locks into the ashtray on the playfield glass rail to hold the playfield glass up. So he had never seen that before and didn't know about that, and neither did I really. So he was that was something, he learned something new that day, and so did I. So that was pretty cool. Anyway. So I have made some contribution to the Internet Pinball database, which is pretty cool. And as a matter of fact, NUGENTIPDB, I'm in the process of submitting some more information. Let's see, or is it already here? So it said he was, for Nugent, they are seeking high-res images of the back glass. So I have submitted those, and Jay got back and asked for a couple more photos. he was wondering if he could get a close-up. Let's turn this flashback on. Oh, hi, Eli. Our cat, like, never comes down here, but in the last few days, she's been extra curious and came down and hung out with Ray and I on Saturday night on a couple occasions. Not for very long, but so rare to see her down here. Yeah, and she's got a boy name, I know, Eli, because we thought it was a dude when she was hanging out on the street, and we named it after our street, Elias, but turned out to be a girl, so it's Eli. Anyway, she's having fun over there. We'll let her explore. So Jay was asking if I could send a photo also of the back of the back glass, which I did, and if I could send a photo of this information here, which I also did. So, coming soon to the Internet Pinball Database near you, some updated Nugent back glass photos. And I'll be happy to provide more. I've been through a few rare machines in the past, and I really should have done that to them as well, but I don't know, didn't really think of it. Now that I am thinking of it, I shall do it. Okay, so I didn't do anything to Pinball Magic. Whitewater, I still want to do something with these two green switches. When you hit them, they often don't register, but there's not a lot of space between the targets and the mantis protectors behind them, so I have bent the switches forward before to give them a little bit of room to actually register. But the problem is, over time, they just kind of get smashed back, and so I could bend them forward, and that may just last a while. Or I could remove the mantis protectors, give them the breathing room they need to register consistently, and maybe just put in some more reinforced switch brackets so that they don't bend as much if I remove the mantis protectors. Because I seen on another Whitewater recently that this had the very same setup, the green targets with the mantis protectors, but the green targets were starting to crack on both because they just smash into the metal, and of course that ain't gonna last very long, so I gotta do something about those. I haven't done anything about it, so that's still on my to-do list. Oh yeah, so on was it Saturday when we were playing Lord of the Rings, the vertical up kicker there for Gimli stopped registering, and so we were checking out the switch matrix and everything, and turned out that just that switch itself is being a little bit flaky, so when you wiggle the wire on it, it got it back up and running. So eventually I'll either replace that switch or redo the wires on it and resolder them on there or something. But so there was that. Dracula, last time we were playing, the ball rested on that drop target. Can you see to the left of the skill shot? There's the drop target there, currently in the down position. The ball kind of rested there, and I had to tilt someone to free the ball. So I thought that the drop target might have been a little low, and that's why it was resting there. So I lifted up the play field, and while I was in there, I kind of cleaned up some rubbers and posts and flipper rubbers and stuff, and only to look closer to determine that the drop target is actually... Oh, can you even see that? Let's get in there. It's pretty darn flush to the play field, so I didn't adjust it, because if I were to raise that drop target any, then it might cause the ball to kind of jump over it. But if it happens again, then I will lower the drop target a smidge. So, no issues with anything else. So I did have fishtails reset on me once, and only once, on ball one of a single ball game. That's just kind of on my radar. I'm not about to do anything just yet, because it could be a lot of things. Most likely the power connectors, according to my board guy. Okay, so here's some of the meat and potatoes of what I actually did. Oh wait, I overlooked one thing on Nugent. Okay, so when we were playing on Saturday, one time these drop targets were knocked down and they didn't reset. So the only reason that would really be is one of the switches didn't register. So, you know, at the end of the game, the solenoid resets the target, or at the beginning of a game, and then it never happened again. But I did take my, this is like the sandpaper I use that has no sand left on it, so it's almost just paper. So I re-cleaned those 3 switches and checked that they were adjusted okay, which they are, and hopefully that issue won't return. But you know, sometimes if you knock down the target so gently, like if you just graze into it, it might not, I don't know, snap down as fast and register the switch, or it might have just been a random glitch. But that was on my little to-do list, just little miscellaneous stuff like that. And I think the rest of the stuff is Terminator 3. Let's see if I can go by memory on some of the things I did. Okay, let's get a light here. Maybe my flash will be fine. The end of stroke switch. It had some pretty crappy solder job done to these 2 wires. There was tape on here, one indicating, you know, lower, one indicating upper. So someone had maybe changed out the end of stroke switch or resoldered it for whatever reason. Maybe a wire broke off, I don't know, but both were crappy solder jobs. I redid them, put the little plastic sleeve back on there, and tidied that up. And then I refurbished the flippers. So just kind of took off the coil, cleaned up the link and plunger, and then replaced the sleeve and the coil stop on both sides. I haven't tried the flippers since I have done that, but I imagine it'll make a nice little snappy difference. Here's the old sleeves, so they're pretty old. I don't know if they're original or not, but it's definitely a good chance. Coil stops, definitely looking a little beat in. This one, a little concave as well. It's not really focusing very well, is it? And so I checked the manual just to make sure that it was the correct coil stop that I had in stock here. This is number 6. And we'll go over to coil stop bracket sub-assembly. It's a 515-6308-01. And sure enough, I stock these guys because Stern coil stops are the worst. Anyway, long story short, changed coil stops, changed the coil sleeves, and they should be happier now. Okay, and remember the issue I was having with the coil on T3? I have since resolved that by putting on a beefier spring and coil sleeve, so this can't get stuck anymore. It was just, I think, magnetized, and I was going to go through the effort of tidying up this coil and reinstalling it just to match all the other coils, but I decided against it. It's just not necessary. This coil works perfectly fine, and it's just me being picky, right? Pretty much all for the color of the coil wrapping, which is not really necessary. If it ain't broken, don't fix it, kind of thing. Oh, the other fun thing I had was when I was installing LEDs in this corner here, I had an LED go, oops, popped off of the socket there and into the back corner. So I said, just gonna screw that for now. So I put in another LED, and I knew that there was an LED loose and, you know, roaming in that back corner. So I was just kind of procrastinating because I knew that would be a challenge to get out. So today I removed this socket here, thinking that maybe I can get the LED to fall through the hole, only to find out that the LED that was in this one also popped out. So I had 2 rogue LEDs in the back corner. And as you can see, basically under that plastic in the back corner is where 2 LEDs lay. And with much difficulty, I accessed these two screws here, popped those off. I could barely reach in there for that, and then kind of pried up the plastic just enough so that I could get an opening in between the plastic and the rail there. And with a magnet, very, very carefully, like a game of operation, I was able to use this to just fish those LEDs out of the corner. Oh, and I even had to use some bamboo stick to push them into an area where I could access them with the magnet. So, fishing LEDs, that was fun. But I did get rid of them. I did remove them. They're no longer in there. And I put in just a different style LED and I also squeezed the socket a little tighter so that shouldn't pop out of there again. So obviously it happened twice. But a thinner LED, not quite as wide, and a tighter socket that shouldn't pop out of there again. Alright, and what else? Oh, I actually did manage to get in here, and I didn't remove the RPG plastic, but I did remove the back glass, and I was able to clean all the RPG targets. I don't know for sure if it was necessary, but I think I was like shooting the RPG and thinking the targets weren't registering, but I think it was just me missing the target. So either way, it was good to clean those targets again with my non-sandpaper. That's all I did. Okay, so what else did we do? Let's look at my list here. Grab my pen. Reflowed the EOS. We did that. Rebuild the flippers. Oh, I tried to make the game even a little bit more difficult, so I moved the post. Well, actually, I was going to move the post. I realized in hindsight that there's a post here that adjusts for difficulty, and it was in the middle. So I was going to move it to the most difficult position. Wait, that would be here, top of the playfield. But it was kind of a little bit challenging to get out. I had to remove this screw, kind of pull up this plastic. As you can see the holes right there, that's where it was. So it was a bit of a pain to get out, and even more of a pain to put back into the top slot. Where is it? Right there. So, as you can see, the even better solution was to remove it altogether. So that right out lane should be a little more deadly now. And I have the post right there, as well as the rubbers for the other out lane posts. So that's one step more difficult, because this game is playing a little too easy for my liking. And I can't be getting to the friggin' wizard mode every game, because that will, that'll lose the fun factor. We want to keep the fun factor by making it brutal. It's like irony there. Okay. What else is on the list? Move the post, swap the coil back. Nope, not doing that. Nugent picks, we did that. LED in the playfield, yeah, that was fun. Oh, the lane protector, the shooter lane, yes, okay. I did a couple things. These early Stearns and Sega games are known for their this ball shooter coil to just blast the ball into the friggin' side rail. I did a couple things. Previous owner Lenny had installed, where is it? A little kind of homemade metal rail there, just to try and prevent future wear. Oh, here it is. In the shooter lane, you can see that it was getting dented. And it was just on there with two-sided tape, so it wasn't on there good. As a matter of fact, it fell off when I was moving the machine and landed right in there, and it was causing some havoc until I figured out what the heck was going on. I'm going to put the playfield down, and I'll be right back. Alright, there, as you can see, I installed an actual shooter lane protector. When I removed the old one, there was actually kind of a dent in the wood and some of the black wrap. I think it's vinyl wrapped. was missing about like this much, so it had taken a beating right about where this shooter lane wear is. That won't happen again, but the issue is really the strength that that solenoid fires, and there's a few different things you can do, and I've done a few of the different various things you can do. This time around, all I did was something very reversible. I just put 3 layers there of dampening foam under the plunger so that it doesn't have as far to throw. So it has to start from here instead of way down here. So starting here, can't fire as hard, and therefore it's not as violent and obnoxious. And that, like I said, is very reversible, but that will just ease it out of there. I mean, it can also break the welds, which they're probably broken, come to think of it. Look at that. See that? It is broken. I forgot to check that until this very moment, but I'm not too overly concerned about that. The other thing you can do is lower the solenoid power in the settings, but I don't know if you can do individual solenoids. I doubt it. You'd probably have to do all of them. And so I think my solution is good. Very reversible and works well. Okay, so the last couple things I got to figure out on this game are occasionally, like, there's like a couple different ways that this machine can feed. Like, it's got a back trough back here. Check this out. Okay, see this metal trough? It's actually pretty interesting. The ball can feed into that hole and then come around, and then see this opening here it can come out of. But if you look in there closely, I just noticed kind of today that there is basically like a kind of like a VUK. It is vertical, so it is an upside down VUK. So you push this guy down, and that will, you can see the post in there. See there? It's kind of hard to see. Where are you? There you go. So when that goes down, then the ball feeds down that little rail there, wire form, and it's supposed to go through this gate. That gate, there's no gate there. It's just the bracket. The gate is missing. I don't know if there's supposed to be or not. The ball is supposed to feed into the pop bumpers, but this machine does not do that. Like maybe 1 in 10 if I'm lucky. And if the ball is not diverted into this hole, it actually comes out this hole on the other side and just kind of like falls into the that trough zone there, and then from there it gets kicked out of, where is it? There's so many like places the ball kind of kicks in and out of on this game. It's pretty cool. At some point it kicks out of the TX's arm there and fires down this wire form. But yeah, anyway, for whatever reason, my ball just doesn't seem to want to make it into the pop bumpers, so I gotta figure out if that's something I can adjust or tweak, or is there supposed to be a one-way gate here? Why is this bracket here if there's no one-way gate? And when does this up post supposed to activate? And when does that up post supposed to activate? And are they working properly? I imagine they are, but it'd be kind of nice to confirm that. I just don't know 100%. I know a couple times I've had Final Battle lit. That I started the Final Battle once by hitting the right orbit to finish the last shot, but that orbit, that up post must have came up and fed it into the trough, which is the same shot that the left orbit would have been. Or does it feed it into this up kicker? Anyway, I started the Final Battle by hitting the right orbit, because I think it just ended up in the same spot. And then another time, I believe I started the final battle by launching the ball, was it? Because that ultimately ended up where the final battle shot ends up. So twice I've lit the final battle. Neither time I actually started it by hitting the left orbit. So it makes me wonder about those up posts. Or if there is something going on with the 3.0 software that is a little different than the 4.0 software that I haven't installed yet because I haven't got it yet, but I will. Once I get the 4.0 software, then I'll be all up to date. So that's the other thing that's on the list. Let's go take a final look here. What am I missing? So white water, green targets, get to deal with that. Remove mantis, question mark. It has reset on me a couple times. It's like kind of like the fishtails thing. Just keep an eye on it. Fishtails reset on me. Lord of the Rings switch is flaky. So pretty much covered everything. And yeah, up post working correctly. Code update. Is the ball ever supposed to feed the pups? Yes, yes it is. On T3. Okay, I feel like I've blathered on quite a bit. This was more just a walk and talk episode than it was actually doing, because I've pretty much done most of what needed to be did before I started the record, before I started hitting the record button. My look at this here. We're actually doing something. Here we go. This socket is popped out of its slot. There we go. Voila. That wasn't even on the to-do list. I wonder if the other side's like that. No, it's good. Okay, anyway. Hopefully I didn't blabber on too long, but that's just some random shenanigans in the basement, miscellaneous fixes and tweaks. It wasn't really worthy of being a T3 episode or a Nugent episode, so it's just a miscellaneous day in Shenaniganderland. I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching.